could crude oil be heading back to $100? That's what I'm going to be looking at in this video. I'm going to be taking a look at the price action. I'm also going to take a look at those key fundamentals, and I'm going to be putting some alerts on the charts of where we can be looking for opportunities to present themselves. So let's kick it off with the fundamentals in the market. So if you go over to OPEC website, they have news here and press releases, and we can see that the headline here is several OPEC countries announce extension of additional voluntary cuts of 2.2 million barrels per day for the second quarter of 2024. So what are we seeing here? Basically, we're seeing a cut to that production. What does cuts in production usually lead to? Usually leads to increased demand, usually leads to the price of oil moving higher. If we just take a little look at these sort of highlights down below, we can see that in addition to the announced voluntary cut by the Russian Federation of 471,000 barrels per day for the same period, which will be from crude oil production and exports as follows. So in April, we're expecting 350,000 barrels per day from production and 121,000 barrels per day from exports. In May, we're looking at 400,000 from production and 71,000 from exports. And in June, 471,000 day totally from production. So we're expecting the cuts to potentially increase here. And I'm expecting that to lead to some upside in those oil prices. And I'm on the monthly chart at the moment. We've had 3 straight months so far of bullishness in oil. We've pretty much found a sort of low down towards this sort of $67.50 per barrel area, and we're starting to climb to the upside. Now naturally, if I was looking at it from just a pure technical analysis point of view, I would highlight this overall range that's formed in the market between those 2 points. So from that low we just discussed, and then up to around about $90 per barrel, and then I'd be expecting to see that if the supply continues to get cut, will it then go to the next area of interest, which are these highs that formed back in June of 2022, which was around about $114. So that's what I'm kind of expecting here, a little bit of an upside increase. Now obviously we have to breach this barrier here before seeing a move that high. But looking at the market now, let's go down to a weekly chart. We can see that obviously price is starting to move a little bit higher here. If we look at it from a daily perspective, the price action is showing us that the market is now heading higher. We've got this sort of consolidation, all this volume being built up down here around about that sort of $79 area down to $76, and price breached that area, and then we started to pull back. So in a recent live stream, I was looking at opportunities long oil if we could come down into this sort of area here, and we have pulled back now. Now what I like to look for is the 4-hour chart also showing the consistency of the market moving lower? Well, it was until price started to get to around about that $80 area, and we consolidated. Consolidation is really important in the markets because it's an area where buyers and sellers find fair value in the market. They are agreeing around that sort of price area, and we often see the market kind of continue to range bound. We had a very sort of large sort of example of this recently between these 2 points, where every time we came back into this area, sellers were getting out of their positions, buyers were getting into their positions, and the market was sort of trading between those 2 points. Now recently we've had this kind of consolidation in here, which is really interesting because I think this gives traders opportunities. It gives opportunities on pullbacks. So I like the idea that now price has traded out of this consolidation zone, can we see opportunities to look for a pullback opportunity? What I mean by that is, does price come back down towards this area where price has been building that volume, and then does it continue to push to the upside? If we go to an hourly chart here, you can see it in a little bit more detail. We've just expanded away from the averages here as well. Usually I like to see price trading above the 50 MA, which is the red line. You can see that when price does this, quite often we can get expansions in price. So I'm looking to see, can we get a little bit of a pullback here? Can we start making sort of move back to the upside here? So for me, I'm going to highlight these recently broken through highs in the market. I'm going to highlight it down that area, and I'm going to place an alert around about 81.35. okay, so I want to see, can price pull back down into this area first? Can it then give me some bullish price action for us to then look for opportunities? Now, first targets are going to be up towards this swing high in here. So if I just put a label on that, I'm going to look for around about 82.95 for my targets on any potential upside, and this is just first targets. The reason why I want to do that is I want to get out at that kind of first point of real resistance with some capital. So if we do pull back into here, I'll be looking for longs into that area, and then if we can continue to hold through that position, then we can start looking for the sort of bigger long-term targets up towards that 89.75. But if I look at it from a daily chart point of view, there could be some real scope here for the market to continue to push to the upside in this coming month or two. So keep an eye on oil, could be heading much higher.